consistency is such a big key into anything. It's literally, I don't care what you do. I don't care how good you are. It does not matter how good you are at anything. If you stay consistent at something, it will flourish for you. That's just how the universe works. I'm not trying to get all spacey here, but that's just the way it works. It doesn't matter if you don't want to do it or not. If you keep putting hours into something every single day, you will get that result.
What's going on, man? Welcome to the Midi Money Podcast. Appreciate you coming on, bro.
Hey, man, I'm honored to be here, bro. Legion Beats, bro. Come on, bro. This is, you know who you are.
Man, I'm sure a lot of the people watching or listening already know who you are, but for anybody who doesn't, hit him up, Beatsbyjblack on Instagram. Man, I was trying to think of what to say in the intro. There's like so much that you do. I don't even know where to start with the finger drumming, with the production, with the kits, with the, I don't even know all this, the sponsorship stuff. There's so much that you do, man. It's impressive and it's inspiring. So I'll just say that this is a man who does a lot and does it really well. So yeah.
Man, I appreciate that, bro. I really do, man. I appreciate that, man. And just being in a circle with a whole bunch of just I don't even know what to call you guys. Just artists, from entrepreneurs to just like-minded, great people, to be in the room with you guys. I'm just as honored. So when you guys talk about me that way, it's just how I look up to you guys too as well. So hey, man, likewise, right back at you, bro.
Right on, bro. Appreciate that. Yeah, man, it is fun. Honestly, that's one of the funnest parts of this whole game, is being able to just connect with other cool people and like-minded individuals and be able to, geek out on whether if it's on the marketing side or the music side or just connect,
right.
As people is one of the fun things for sure. So,
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, maybe just to kind of give a little context, a little background. What is your background? What's your come up story? What was, did you envision, as a kid that you were gonna be, Beatsbyjblack?
No, I think like most people, we don't really know what we're gonna grow into. And I'm only 28, so I'm 28, by the way. Turning 28 in September, and I definitely didn't know at 28 I was going to be a drum curator, finger drum teacher, finger drumming person on the MPC. Like I told everybody before then, I used to like to dance back in the days. That was my thing. Pretty much my years through middle school and high school. Dancing was like a big thing, a part of my life. And what's funny, when I was dancing, teaching was a side right along. It was right alongside of that, because when I would dance, I would always want to show my friends, like, yo, this is the newest move. Like, this is what you got to do, right? So the reason why, it's not the reason why I stopped dancing, but I got a little discouraged. There's this movie that came out, I want to say back in 2006, 2005. It's called Rise, right? And it's this crumpin' movie. And this main guy's name was Tight Eyes, and shout out Blockbuster. That's when Blockbuster was still a thing, right? And I'd go to Blockbuster and I rented this movie, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. So I went to my friend's house, my friend Kenny's house, and I was like, man, Kenny, stick your chest out, man. We're about to do this thing called crumping. So I'm showing him how to do this thing. And Kenny had a little brother named Kevin, and Kevin, just like little brothers, they want to watch what the older brothers is doing. He started watching us and he was catching on too. Fast forward, then he's hitting me up and he's like, look, man, I'm really taking this seriously. Can you train me? So next thing I know, I'm really training his little brother. Fast forward the story, he gets a ride to Juilliard. He gets a scholarship to Juilliard at a young age. Damn. Yeah, he made the paper. He was in the paper. It was everything.
Impressive.
At a young age, at my age, I didn't really know how to take that. Of course, I'm happy for him, right? But at a young age, you're thinking like, well, I'm the dancer. Where's my scholarship at? You know what I mean? Right. So that was just a slight discourage on my side, and not the biggest regret. I mean, I still dance around the house to this day, but that was one of the biggest things where I was like, okay, well, I guess there's only one of those being handed out. And, I kind of, chose and start hanging out with a different crowd, and hung out more into the crowd with the smoking and freestyling in the car. So that's kind of where that elevated to into more of the music, because just kind of being around the homies, being around the freestyling, and after a while, going on YouTube for the beats, it just really wasn't it. So how that happened was how I got the finger drumming was, so like I said, I got introduced to a different crowd, and we would ride around and just smoke hot box and just rapping. I wasn't rapping, I was just I just loved to be there. And we went to my friend's house. It was my friend's house. I would consider him my friend too. It was my man Chris. And we went to his house, and what we do is, after we were done, we go inside and we start freestyling. And what he would do is, my man Chris, he had a keyboard. It was like a Casio keyboard. And what he would do is he would split the keys, and he'd have melodies on one side and then percussion on the other. And this dude, kid you not, he would play this live. Like, it was really dope. He would play, have melodies on one side. And to some brothers who was in there feeling nice, freestyling, I mean, that's amazing to see that. We're still young. And for me, I'm just in the back, and I'm like, man, I need to learn this. So I'm in the back. I was like 14, 15 at the time. I was like 14. And I remember I was looking at him. I was looking behind him. I was like, hey, man, why don't you try doing this? And he was like, nah. And I was like, oh, man. Like, that was like the biggest, when somebody just hits you with that nonchalant, like, and it means 1,000 things. It's like, yo, get away from me. Like, don't, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Why are you here? Like, I'm making music. Why are you behind me? Why are you giving me suggestions?
Who are you?
Who are you? Yeah, you have no musical experience, which, he had every right to feel like that, because I didn't. But it definitely rubbed me in that motivational, like, oh, okay, watch, I'm gonna be a better beat maker than you. So I was working at Subway at the time. I was like 14. This is like when the child, like, you can work like at 12, like back in the day. They don't let you do that anymore. But I think I got my first job at Subway, I was like 12. And I was like 14 at the time. And shout out Radio Shack. I went to Radio Shack and got my first Casio keyboard. So I got the one that was like slightly better than his. It was like the WK300 with the sampler on it. You can only sample like 15 seconds. So I got that, still hanging out with them, looking over his shoulder, like, okay, that's how you do that. Went back home, and that only lasted for a little bit until I got in trouble because I was doing that stuff. That stuff caught up with me. And then I had to move to Virginia with my parents, and they shut all that down. They, no going out, I couldn't play any video games, no nothing, right?
How old were you?
I was probably about 15 when that happened, when I got caught up, about 14, 15.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing crazy stuff. I mean, we laugh about it today, man. I was taking the car out at 13, 14. Man, I was doing some risky stuff, man. But it builds character, right? But
as long as you were all right and nobody else got hurt, then you're good.
Right. Absolutely. But yeah, they moved me down to VA, and of course they definitely held strict to me there, and it was like, all right, I'm not going out past a certain time, and you stay inside. So one of the biggest things is because music wasn't really a huge element in my life. They took everything away, my cell phone, my video games, I mean, all that stuff. The one thing they didn't take away was my keyboard. And all I had was a keyboard. So then I just literally stayed inside, and that's literally how that began. Probably a little bit my years, and this is like my fresh, like the end of the year of high school is like when I really started kind of getting a hang of it, and then started getting into beat machines and stuff like that, because my friend showed me Arab music, and he was like, yo, dude Arab music does this is and it blew my mind, and I'm like, I need a beat machine, I need one of those, and it just, the rest kind of began from there. But I wouldn't say I took it all the way serious right after high school. It's just kind of a hobby, still something that I never thought I'd be doing full time today.
Man, that's crazy. It's funny how, all those little those little circumstances, the little situations that happen, that, you know, going to that dude's house and seeing that in the first place, and then getting in trouble, like ultimately ended up being in a weird way was a good thing because you were just locked in your room with your keyboard. And it's like, it's crazy how life is sometimes, where you just never know when it's like something that just seems like a small thing or something that seems like a bad thing or whatever. And it turns into like, oh my God, like I'm so grateful ultimately that happened, because it created this whole life for me, you know? So that's pretty cool.
It is cool when it happens like that, man.
That's cool, man. So, okay, so you started getting, you know, eventually it sounds like started taking it a little bit more serious. And did you have an idea in mind when you're, you know, when you did start taking your music more serious, as far as like, this is what I want to be? Like, do I want to be, because it sounds like you were always kind of doing multiple things at the same time.
Right. It still wasn't something that, it was something that, you know, my dad and mom and dad, especially my dad, definitely one of my biggest supporters. You know, we always would sit there at my basic jobs and talk about, you know, what if this were to happen? But it was always something that was always very, very, like, really finger drumming. Like, you can really, I mean, sure, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but they, you know, one thing I really do appreciate my parents, they never questioned it. My parents were all about, you know, you got the three tasks. It's like after high school, you either go to school, you either work, you make money, or you go to the military. You know what I mean? So my parents are always about, you know, as long as you're doing what you got to do and handle what you got to do, I really don't care what you do. So they never gave me anything about my music. They're always very supportive.
That's awesome.
Of what I was doing. But at the same time, I was still very strict on myself, to where I was like, man, I don't know if this is something I want to dive off and, you know, see my life and be like, oh, I want to be a finger drummer, a professional finger drummer. Like it's really, you know what I mean? So if my old job is watching this, but yeah, I used to work for the government for a little bit too. I was in IT, and I did that for a little bit. And I mean, I was making beats and stuff at work, and I mean, they call me Beats at Work, you know what I mean? But still, you know, I probably shouldn't have been doing that. But I still always got some of the videos you might see. I was at work. I was, you know, behind my desk job, banging out beats and stuff like that. So, but it was one of those things that, like, I was like, man, I feel like I'm good enough to take this dive and to find some type of, you know, entrepreneurship inside of this, even though, because, you know, the niches are the richest. It's like you find something that's like this. I think the scariest part is finding something that hasn't been done before and pioneering it to where, because it's like I'm just taking the scale of like piano lessons. I'm incorporating like everything. I watch what piano lessons, how they take virtual piano lessons. I incorporate that here. So just, yeah, basically, without getting too far into the actual finger drumming thing, you know, academy and stuff. I just never knew that there's other avenues that I could just be sitting here cheesing, and you know what I mean, and just be something that.
No, that's really interesting, because honestly, I wasn't sure, like I didn't know all that background, and my assumption was that maybe you had originally envisioned more of like a, I guess, traditional, like, you know, I'm going to be like a, you know, a producer or engineer. Not that you're not doing those things, but like that was going to be the main thing you're going to do. Because even that is something that, you know, is outside of the norm, where most like parents aren't thrilled about it or whatever. But like you were even from an early stage into the finger drumming as like, not just like music as like this sort of weird niche thing that's hard to make money and maybe, or that people don't understand it, but like niche down even really further to where probably most people are like finger drum, like what is, I don't even know what that is, you know? So man, I have to say, like, I'm impressed, you know what I mean? That you at least saw some of the, I'm sure you didn't envision everywhere where it would take you, but like, just even that you recognize that, wow, this is something that could be something from that early on. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's always really cool to look back at and reflect on, you know, just from a beat machine, and, you know, got to travel. And yeah,
I think what you said there too is, you know, it's kind of a cliche, I guess. So people probably heard it, like, you know, the riches and the niches, but it is so true. And it comes down to, I think, you know, it's finding your own lane. It's, and I think even to give it a little bit of nuance is like, I think it can be intimidating to say like, you have to find something brand new. Cause then like people are like, I don't know what's brand new. Like everything in this world has been done.
Right.
And I think that's actually true to a certain extent. But there's this concept of like blue ocean, red ocean, right? which is like, the red ocean is like somewhere is like somewhere where there's a lot of people doing that thing, right? And I think the analogy is like if there's a bunch of people fishing in the same spot, then like the sharks start coming and there's blood everywhere and whatever. And if you're trying to compete in there, it's going to be really hard because everybody's there, right? So it's like the red ocean. So then if you can kind of be in a blue ocean where you're like the only one fishing, then that's like great, right? And so the analogy there is like, well, are you going to do what everybody else is doing, or are you going to do something completely different? But I think the nuance in there is that you don't necessarily have to like out of the blue, no pun, out of nowhere actually invent that new thing completely. But how can you take maybe things that already exist to a certain extent and combine them? Or how can you take a concept that already exists in this world and now bring it into this world? And then it's kind of like, now you have like a purple ocean, right? It's like, it's combining these things. It's not that you like out of the air, like just invented this completely brand new revolutionary thing. Like, to me, that's something that's most humans it's just not going to happen, right? But it's more about how can you combine the different things that do exist and do that in a cool way, or how can you take something that exists and now put a new twist on it, which I think is a big part of what you did, which is so smart. Where there's like, as far as I know, you're the finger drumming guy. Like if I want to learn how to finger drum, which we can get into later, like you're the guy to go to. Which I was taking lessons for a little while from you, and I can't wait to get back into it because it was so fun. But I think that's really cool that you were able to carve out that niche, that purple ocean, we'll call it.
Absolutely, man. That's the main thing is you're really carving out your own lane on something that can be so oversaturated, right? Because you got apps now, you got on your phone, you can just make beats, right? You got, I mean, they're making beats so easy for you nowadays, or, you can, back in the days, it was such a big deal for you to put your music on Apple Music and Spotify and all that. Now it's almost just as easy as putting your music on SoundCloud. So, yeah, it's really about how you can be different, especially at this time when they're making everything so accessible.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think for people who are listening to it, as watching this as music producers or whatever you do, like, that to me is the thing, is like, okay, how can you kind of, take what's going on and then just put enough of a twist on it? Like, it's funny, I was talking to my buddy Adrian at Anno Domini just earlier today about this whole concept of like, so many producers are like, oh, the market's saturated, it's impossible to make a living, whatever, everybody's already doing. It's like, yeah, okay, if you do the exact same thing that everybody else is doing, that those millions of producers are doing, then yeah, that is saturated. But if you can, even not coming up with something completely brand new, but if you can put a little bit of your own twist on it, bring your own personality to it, put something on it, now all of a sudden you're not in that red ocean competing with those millions of other producers. You've actually carved out your own little lane. So I think that's a big part of the solution. I think one thing that you've done really well also that kind of goes hand in hand with that is like, okay, well, so now let's say you've experimented with some stuff, you kind of have some idea, whatever, like getting that message out. And I think part of that is like the content that you create. And I think this is something that you do really well. So I'd love to just get some tips from you as far as like, do you have a framework or methodology or whatever with the content? Do you just put it out and you see what works? What can you tell me about like, that process?
Yeah. A lot of the times with that too, I get asked that a lot. And I kept all my videos up. I mean, I've been doing this since 2014. You go to my first video. So, I mean, that's like 6 years. And yeah, I mean, you can go back to those. I mean, some people will go all the way back and show me. I have people who go back and show me love on those, but you'll see it. I mean, only 100 likes, 70 likes, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things that another cliche comment coming here, but consistency is such a big key into anything. It's literally, I don't care what you do, I don't care how good you are. It does not matter how good you are at anything. If you stay consistent at something, it will flourish for you. That's just how the universe works. I'm not trying to get all spacey here, but that's just the way it works. It doesn't matter if you don't want to do it or not. If you keep putting hours into something every single day, you will get that result, So with me, what does help is my charisma, the smile, the energy, of course, and I make sure I keep that consistent too as well. But also I think it's just the flood of videos, just giving people more content. I wasn't so big on trying to be, and even though I grew up in the discrete era of, only post a couple times, and it's like, nah, if I feel the inspiration, I'm going to post that shit. I'm going to keep posting, even if somebody else doesn't like it. Because even if you might have that gut feeling, I would say this, if you have that gut feeling that, I posted too much or something like that, you never know who's watching your content, right? And you feel like you posted too much. What if that one person didn't like anything you posted, but that one thing you decided to post that you hesitated on could change that person's life?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what happens. That's why people do post a lot of content. You might not like everything that person posts, but there's something that you're going to find that you're going to like. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing for us producers. I think the thing is we, as producers and just / artists, we're sensitive. We don't want to get critiqued. A lot of us, we don't want people to say it's bad or anything. So we don't want to put our worst beats out, or just our beats that are just okay out. But when you do that, you'll find a lot of people who are like, well, man, he put this type of beat out. Well, I might as well put this type of beat out because I didn't want to do that. Like for me, when I try to switch up and do house beats, there's a lot of, hip hop producers that don't want to step into that realm or step into it. So I'm going to do whatever I feel. If it's rock, house, alternative, you know what I mean? If it's hot, it's hot. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, I think that's so huge. I think there's a few gems in there. I just want to pull out, which is like, one is like, is a consistency thing. And I think that, yeah, it's a cliche. Yeah, okay, be consistent. But I think there's a few parts to it. One is, in order to get good at anything that's worth getting good at, you have to do it over and over. So that's one thing, is just keep practicing. You have to keep doing it. So you might as well keep creating content, keep putting out, whether if that is making beats,
right,
putting out videos, whatever that content is, like do it over and over. Because I think that for one thing, you're just going to get better at it. For another thing, you're going to realize for you what you like doing and what you're good at, whether if it's the topics you're talking about or the type of videos you're making or the type of beats or the music, whatever it is. And also the feedback you're getting too, even if at first nobody's watching or nobody's listening, hey, you should probably be grateful because you probably suck at first anyway. So like, that's good if you only got 5 likes. Great, keep going, because by the time, you get to your 100th video or beat or whatever, that's when people might start paying attention. And then as you build that catalog too, also the other thing is, I think a lot of times people don't, the people who get discovered or the people who get popular, a lot of times part of it is because they just stuck with it long enough to get popular, not to take away from it, but it's like, even if you think about some big, Game of Thrones, right? One of the biggest shows ever, but like, I didn't start watching it until, I think I found out about it when they're already in season, whatever it was, like 3 or 4 or something, right? And of course I went back and watched it, but like,
absolutely,
I don't know if they had just done season 1 and it ended, like I wouldn't have ever found out about it. And you know what I mean? But they kept going. And so like, it's the same thing, I think, with your content, with your music, with your beats, whatever. If you just keep going, eventually they're gonna find it, and like from there, now they know who you are, and now they're gonna go check out, some other stuff too.
Exactly. People love people.
But another thing that you mentioned in creating that content, and one of the things that people are drawn to is like, your smile, your charisma, the energy that you bring, and I think that is, it's fun to watch you because it's, it is a combination of like, oh damn, he's really doing like that's dope, and it's also like the energy of you is a big part of it too. So I think that's another piece too of like, when producers aren't sure, like, how do I put out content that people like or whatever? I think a big part of that is being like having a vibe, having a feeling, having something that people come to you for. Now, for me, like I can't be that, I can't be you, right? Like I'm not, I'm just not going to look cool doing the same things that you do, right? I look like different, right? So like for me, maybe my lane is like, I don't know, getting on camera and geeking out about some marketing stuff, but that is the thing that people connect, with me to. And they see that, oh, wow, this guy is actually passionate and excited about, this thing or whatever. So I think that that's super important, is that having that energy and not thinking that you need to be, Jay, who's like, I assume kind of naturally that way, right? But you can be me, who's like introverted, shy, awkward. And as long as you kind of find your lane and find something that you're excited enough to like put that energy into, then that's going to come across and people are going to absolutely connect with that.
One thing I do know is that people buy people. If people aren't really rooted, connected to you, it's hard for them to really really buy your product. I have a lot of cases where people just join the Figure Drumming Academy just because they like what I do. People who never even had experience, and people who would just, I'm going to buy a beat machine because this dude is using it. And you look so happy using it, so I'm going to buy one because I want to be happy. You know what I mean? So that's the main energy that you also have, that other people, you should always keep in mind, is that people buy people. So make sure you're a likable a person, or necessarily likable, but you know what I mean, necessarily, people, the people who you would want, the people that you want to attract around you is how you should be authentic.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, even just as basic as just be a human, you know what I mean, which sounds basic,
Right.
but guess what? The first, I don't know, at least 2-3 years of me selling beats online, if you went to my social media, it was visual, the little visualizers of beats and a logo.
Right.
Like I was not a person. There was not a human. There was just Legion Beats, right? So even that to me is like the first step. At least put yourself out there in some kind of way.
Right.
Which I know, I think maybe, there's, all kinds of different kind of people, of course, but I think a lot of times producers, creative people, I don't know if to say a lot of times, sometimes they are the introverted type. Sometimes they are like me, the type who aren't naturally the ones who, want to put themselves out there like that. And so I know I hesitated a lot, but man, it made a huge difference in a lot of ways. It made, for one thing, like you're saying, people by people, like just our sales, just beat sales with Legion Beats went way up. Not to mention it opened up so many more opportunities because now people were like, oh, Gabe, he's the guy who does the Legion Beats thing. Cool. Like that created different opportunities where now I can partner with people or help people with things, or they can help me with things, or, opened up this whole new thing that I've been really focused on the last year or so, which is like this Midi Money thing of like helping other producers do things where like,
Right.
if I was always just a logo and that's it, like that wouldn't be possible, so
Right.
I think there's a lot of value in that, building that personal brand, even just starting from there. And then like we were talking about, keep putting out the content, keep putting it out. And eventually you will figure out what is that, is it that you're charismatic, or is it that you're, are passionate about this, or whatever it is, the thing that people will be attracted to you. Like you'll figure it out just by, continuing to do it. And that creates different opportunities, which, by the way, I feel like you are somebody who has done a really, really good job of leveraging what you have going on into all kinds of different opportunities in multiple ways. So I think we go down multiple paths. Basically, two main paths I want to talk about. One is like you have multiple, businesses, products and services, but then you also have different ways that you've created relationships with different companies, like different types of sponsorships and partnerships and contests and stuff. Maybe we can start with that one. So what's my question here? I guess how have you, like, let's say I'm a producer, I'm coming up a little bit, I've started to follow the advice we just talked about, I'm putting out content, I'm getting a little bit of a following.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the early steps, or at least what were some of the early steps for you to start creating relationships with those companies so that you could do those kinds of projects?
Really goes back to what we were just saying, just really staying consistent and flooding the market with content. I think the funny part about it was because I didn't think this was going to be something that I looked at as a career. I didn't care if people like my beats or not. It just so happened to be fortunate that my beats are good, but people would have got these beats regardless. You know what I'm saying? You would have saw me because I flooded it. I would doing beats every single day. I would put a video out every single day.
Right.
And it's just like, even, if I'm putting out a beat every single day, I'm putting out like 5 videos, maybe 6 if I'm feeling lucky. And at least out of those 6 beats, you're going to like one of them. You're going to save one of them. You're going to come back to one of them, and it just does that for that person and builds that following. Like, yo, this dude here, he's kind of keeping this thing consistent. And then like you the whole thing about the people by people, when you're a people's person, that's what companies love. So I would say I can't say that I was the average bedroom producer that's really an introvert, because I was a dancer before then. So I used to like to be in the crowd. I used to like to be in the open. I used to like to be seen. So for me, doing, showing my face is not the hardest thing. I'm not sitting here just dancing for everybody, but I know that's one of the things that I take to the table, which allows companies, because I've been in I've did a Gap commercial, McDonald's commercials, and I never would have thought I would be doing something to that exterior on playing a beat machine. But like you said, it's the people loved who I was, and it was like, yo, have you heard of this dude, Beatsbyjblack? He's always smiling all the time. Yo, have you heard of this dude right here? Yo, this dude right here makes me geek because he just does this. And you become almost like this household name just because I'm just flooding it with content, doing the same thing, cheesing, having a great time with my beat machine,
Got it. So it wasn't so much that there's like a specific strategy that you had as far as reaching out to all these different companies and proposing different things or anything like that. It sounds like it was literally just you doing what you're doing best, putting out great content, and then literally they just came to you. Is that right?
Basically, it's like two things. It's like a side of like almost like common sense, and then a side of like it's true proper marketing, right? So it's common sense in a way of, well, everybody likes the popular kid, right? That's kind of common sense. And then for marketing, it's like, okay, you have Timmy over here who makes the best beats I've ever heard, but he only has 235 followers. But then we have I don't know if I can't think of a name. Ricky. We got Ricky over here, and he's but he has 1 million followers. His beats are okay. He makes them on Fruity Loops. He just bounces around and makes them, but the people love him.
Yeah.
We're gonna send him our speakers because our speakers are gonna get seen more because we see the interaction of, whoa, did P. Diddy just comment on his? Yes. If P. Diddy's commenting on your Instagram, yes, we're gonna send you stuff because you're getting that type of interaction. As much as Timmy over here is killing the beats, and his beats are hard, his beats are to the core, his beats are rhythmic, they're organic, there's no samples, he's making it all, but nobody really knows Timmy like that. But then you got Kenny over here, who he's getting the people going. He's sipping Patron on camera, or he got the crazy camera view, and it's lit. He's hitting all the target markets that from the youth to where, we all can relate to on a comedy level, but also in some, that's kind of hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what companies, for instance, the guy from Vietnamese right now, who's setting it off right now, the dude who's counting, the Vietnamese guy. I don't know if you've seen him.
He sounds like I should know. I'm not sure.
You're gonna know.
Okay.
He's the guy who all he does is he sits in front of the camera and he counts, but he has a really thick accent, so he sings American numbers, and it's hilarious. But at the same time, this guy can really sing, but his accent is so. I mean, literally, he's getting. I mean, you go to Snoop Dogg's page right now; it's sitting at 2 million. Snoop Dogg just posted it yesterday. And his video has 2 million views on it right now on Snoop Dogg's page. Timbo posted it.
Oh, that's crazy.
So what do you think these companies are going to do? They want to send it. They don't care. They're going to send it to this guy in, you know what I mean? Because he's the traction. He's who people love right now. So for me, I'm not saying I'm as big as that guy right there, but I've been pretty consistent to be like, well, if you think about finger drumming, we think about Beatsbyjblack. And that's, I'll own that. I'll take that title. I'll take that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right. I'm not cocky or anything, but I do understand
I'll say it. You are that guy. You are definitely the category king. Is a kind of a marketing term that people use. But yeah, you are the guy. But yeah, I want to comment on that too, because I feel like a lot of people hear that, because basically the concept that you're talking about is in this case the context of companies and sponsorships, but really this goes for basically anything, right? Is that the people who are winning are not necessarily the people with the best music, right?
Right.
It's really the people who are the most, let's say, entertaining. The people who, and it's so easy to hate on that, right? And so many people do like, this whole industry is whatever. It's just a popularity, and it's like, well, okay, I could see that. Like, yeah, maybe there's some kind of, utopia where it's literally your popularity is some kind of like objective. This is your talent level and you get paid this, like whatever. Like maybe that would be great if that was true. But first of all, it's not. Second of all, like if you really think about it, who's bringing more value? Like, let's say maybe you did graduate from, what you say, Juilliard, your boy did or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And maybe he has, I don't want to hate on this dude, whatever. Like, maybe, just as an example, let's just say, right? Somebody has all the talent in the world. Let's just say they're classically trained and they play violin or something, right? And they're amazing. Right. They practiced 10,000 hours, all that kind of stuff, right? But what they're bringing is something that people aren't interested in, then guess what? That person is actually not bringing that much value to the world. Maybe they're bringing value to themselves and they're fulfilled by it, and there's something honorable about the time they spent doing that. Great. I don't want to put that down, but I'm also not going to put down the guy who's, I don't understand what this dude's who's counting or whatever, but obviously he's bringing value. Obviously people want to see this and it's entertaining and they like it. So like, that's the game. Like this is the game that you're in. Learn how to play that game. Don't hate on it. And a big part of the value you can bring can be your talent. Like obviously like you're Jay Black, not just because you've got charisma and you smile and all that kind of stuff, right? You're actually like really fucking talented, right? So that is a big part of it, but it's not the only thing. If you just sat there and did the exact same thing, you know, so I think that's really important for people to take in and don't hate on it. Like that is the reality. And so if you understand the game, then learn how to win that game, you know?
Right.
That would be my take on that.
Absolutely.
So, okay. So one of the places that you've been able to take this whole thing is, you know, being able to partner with all these different companies, you know, what was it, Gap and McDonald's and a lot of the big music ones. I think I saw you had a contest going with Novation. I know you work with all kinds of big companies, right?
Right.
But then also separate from that, you have multiple kind of brands and businesses from you should say, because I'll get it wrong, but I know you've got like the Finger Drumming Academy. I know you've got more. What are the different businesses that you have going right now?
So I would say my main bread and butter would be my Finger Drumming Academy.
Okay.
And I co with a lot of sound pack designers. Hence why I'm always doing a lot of sound packs. And you know, melodics.
Sell beats.
It's like I do, but on a very low key, and it's like I don't push it as hard. Shout out to BeatStars. Those are my guys. They're pretty dope. But it's like, you know, I like putting beats on platforms just so, because I'm artist myself, and like I said earlier, you know, artists are sensitive about their stuff, and if I put out a beat the way I want to put it out, just here. You know, I don't want to be critiqued on it. Right. I don't want, can you take this out? Can you loop this twice? I don't want to be done. That's why I chose this avenue. That's why I chose the avenue of not too much, you know, working directly with I remember I was watching, I forgot the guy. He's that real famous engineer with the mohawk, bigger guy, and he has the mohawk. I forgot his name, but I remember it rubbed me so wrong when he said this, but my man said, you know, when you are the producer, you are like the servant, like you answer to the artist. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm feeling that, because I feel like I'm part.
Like, I don't want that.
I don't want that. Yeah, I'm an artist myself. You know, I like to create. I like to be free, and you know, I'm definitely understanding and flexible with, you know, ideas and everything like that. But to be considered a servant is not. That is not it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think that's awesome that you've been able to take like your skill set, your, you know, who you are, all that kind of stuff, and find that lane. And yes, you do multiple things, and yes, you have a beat store or whatever, and maybe some drum kits and stuff, but it sounds like even that's not necessarily your main thing. You know, you're focusing on the thing that really works for you. And it sounds like you're not afraid to try all this different stuff with, you know, whether if it is selling beats or selling kits or, you know, doing, you know, these different sponsorship things or whatever, but you get to do the thing that you love the most. You focus on that the most. Do you have, I know for me, and I think this is a thing that creative people and entrepreneurs and really, if you're a creative person, in my opinion, you need to be an entrepreneur, but is that we want to do all these different things. We get a different idea every time. There's all this cool stuff. But something I've noticed is that I can really only effectively grow one thing at a time.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of times I'm trying to do multiple things. I'm wondering, like, what's your experience with that? Do you struggle with that? How do you think about that? Like, because you do have all these different things going on. How do you deal with the focus?
Oh well, yeah, I'm
aspect of
definitely
it?
human. So yeah, I definitely crash with it and a whole lot of ideas that
Yep.
I have that sounds like even like right now, shameless plug. This right here is my that's wrong side because camera's flipped. But this right here is a brand, unreleased brand. This is actually like I made this whole sweater right here. So clothing.
Look at that. You got a whole
I
nother
got a whole
business I
nother
didn't even know
business. So
about.
real quiet, I call it Vintage 92. Because I wanted to come out with merch, but I didn't want to be cliche and have people walking around with Beats by J Black shirts, even though I know my peoples would rock that because my peoples, they
Right.
look out for me. But as far as giving, as far as merch of mine, I want something I create and also something that people would wear every day or something that, not wear every day, but, wear on an everyday basis. It's not just, oh, I'm wearing my J Black fan shirt today. It's, nah, this is like, like a North Face or, so that's just getting into the whole different industry there. So that's just something I'm just getting in there. But I've been
Yeah,
working.
you're thinking bigger. You're thinking of, hey, this is a brand as far as on that side. It's not just me slapping my logo on something.
Exactly. So, but like you see, it's like stitch made. I have a couple of these, but it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of work. And, when you're trying to do it all by yourself and then, it's one thing, it's easy to find a team, but it's like, you don't want to do that to your team unless I truly believe I am going to be committed at this. And I'm all about, really kind of putting, it's okay to have your eggs in different baskets, but you should also, really hone down and focus definitely and put the hours on one. And I definitely feel like something when you get into the fashion and clothing, that's something that would definitely take a pause out of some other stuff if I really wanted to launch the right way. Because however much work you put into something is how much you're going to get out. So if I half-ass the clothing line, I'm only going to get half-ass results. And something like this,
Right.
I already patented it and all that stuff. I don't want to half-ass this. So I rather, at that right time when it's the right calling, it's like, I can sit down and actually focus on this part of it.
Go all
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Go all in and do it right. Man, that's what's up. Man, I love talking to you. I feel like, I love that energy, that vibe. So I feel like we could go all day. But I know we got to wrap it up soon. I just want to kind of just go back over some of the gems just to make sure nobody missed them, and then you let me know if I missed any,
course.
and then we can kind of pull it out from there. So, we talked about kind of your come up story and how like a lot of times it's the things that seem like just a random little thing, or sometimes seems like a bad thing that happened, and then that ends up creating the opportunity that like can change your life. So that was big gem right there. Talking about how, as far as the strategy behind creating content, it was a combination of just, consistently doing it so that you find your voice, you find what people like, you don't worry about it, you just keep creating more and more and more and more. And then ultimately, we started talking about like sponsorships and like, well, and I thought maybe you're going to have like, oh, here's my secret formula to how I reach out to people with the perfect, like, email that's going to let them, but it was like, nah, bro, I just create great content and then they come to me, so the power of that, and having your own, kind of your own brand, your own identity, something that people come to you for, whether if that's for you, it's being, the energy, the positivity, the excitement that you bring, and on top of the talent and how, really it's both those things. And don't hate on people if they're popular, even if they're not, I don't know, classically as talented as somebody else, like whatever, they're obviously bringing some value that you're not. So step your game up and do that, figure it out. And then, talking about, focusing on different things and, as creatives, we like to do a lot, but ultimately, if you really want to grow something, really going all in on that thing for at least a certain period of time. Man, so many different things. I don't know. Did I miss any?
Nah, man,
was that good?
you recapped it up, bro. That was it, man. That was, yeah, man,
Okay.
you got it. Yeah, that was wonderful, bro.
All right, man. Well, let's, if you could give me, either any parting words or gems, or at least just let people know where to find you. I know you've probably got a lot of different things, but, yeah, let the people know where to find you. And if you didn't want to, have anything else to add.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you for having me on. If you want to find your boy, it's Beats by J Black, Beats by J the color, and then yeah, I got the Finger Drumming Academy if you're interested, which is just Finger Drumming Academy. It's the only thing out right now. So if you type that in, it's going to be me. Shameless plug.
That is, by the way, that is so much fun. Like I was doing it for a little while. I got off it because I was just a million different things going on. But I'm about to sign back up.
Yeah,
so
I'm excited.
It's just so fun. Just do it.
When I saw you signed up, I was like, oh man, this is amazing. So
I'm gonna be back on it. We're gonna talk after this and scheduled. I'm on it. So, but I cut you off though. Finger drumming.
Yeah, finger drumming. Yeah. But that's just but shameless plug there. Just Beats by J-Black. All across on everything. But I guess what to leave to the people is the same thing I tell everybody else. Is just keep putting that content out. Stay consistent at whatever you do. And it's honestly, you can put content out, but like I said, there's no witchcraft to it. It's just the way the universe works. If the more you put into something, the benefits is just gonna hit you, whether you want them or not. So just try it. If you're feeling discouraged, that's just that feeling of test. But you just keep doing it, and you'll see it's gonna work out. So stay consistent. That's really all you have to do. Already vitalize what you envision yourself. I saw that I wanted sponsors. I'm a materialistic dude when it comes. I love gear. Yeah, I'm a big nerd when it comes to all this stuff. So it's this kind of stuff I already visualized and already set for myself. It wasn't really about how am I going to get this. It was more so about when is it going to come and do I have enough space for these speakers or these, you know what I mean? It's like you just kind of map stuff out, just envision what you already foresee for yourself. And I was telling somebody this to wrap it up. I was telling somebody this in my Finger Drumming Academy. I said, my goal next year is to get, my decent sized house, because I want like 3 studios. Like I want like a sound room, and then I want like an acoustic room, and then I want a jam room with the wood floor and just the old school rug, the drum set, and I just got this vision, just all this, this movie theater, just all this stuff. Right. And that's just a small cap of the things. That's just a small cap of the things that I want, because what I do is the trick is I set my goal so high that I don't even know. Like my goal is, and I'll tell you, my goal for Finger Drumming Academy, what I'm trying to get out of it is I want to get it sold for $1 billion, just like Beats by Dre. Just like I want to sell Finger Drumming Academy for $1 billion because I'm the first, right? Somebody's going to come look at it and be like, look, J-Black, I love what you're doing, but we can really add money behind this. You know what I mean? And you buy it from me, I become an employee. I'll be a proud employee if you buy my business out for the right price. Grow it to a business to where I couldn't even dream of. They might have, virtual reality is getting big. You have virtual reality developers that can have classes in your headset and just stuff that I wouldn't, from me, just as one guy, wouldn't be with some company that sees this, Microsoft or Sony. That's what I already picture somebody buying, and that's why I have the thing with the, selling my curriculums and stuff like that too, to places like Juilliard or Berkeley, so they can teach Finger Drumming Academy, finger drumming, the curriculum in school, places like that. So basically, it's just me, but I have this crazy vision here, right? If you imagine if I knock out even a third of this stuff, me having that house with all those studio and all that stuff would be so little, you know what I mean? Because I would be having 3 or 4 houses at this time, you know what I mean? So that's why I set my goals on something where it's like, I don't know what crazy guy is going to buy out Finger Drumming Academy for $1 million or $1 billion. But, once it's more of a thing, because that's everybody's finger drumming now. It's the new DJing now, so once that evolves, like piano lessons, everyday piano lessons, that's when, it will be something. I'll invite you over, and then you'll come over to the crib. Man. I'm like, yo, you want to go to studio like A, B, like which one? You want to go to like, oh, it's got one upstairs, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be dope. I'm
ready. I'm ready.
It's gonna be crazy.
I love the vision, bro. It's super inspiring too. And I think hopefully it's helpful to people to watch, to see, like, even just, it's cool to just watch the way your brain is working right now of like, oh, like envisioning all this kind of stuff. Like, I think that's super important to just, think big and just think about, like, not being boxed in with like, well, okay, I saw this guy do something, so that looks kind of cool, but like, great, that's a great place to start, but like, what else could I do? So anyway, super inspiring to me. I know for everybody watching it, they're going to be inspired by that too. So, bro, I appreciate you, taking the time. I know you're a busy man. I know you're building an empire over there. And I know that I appreciate it, and everybody watching or listening appreciates it too.
Likewise, bro. Likewise, man. Hey, man. Stay blessed, man. I appreciate for being on the show, bro.
Thank you, man.